Here is today's question. Can you truly own your digital afterlife? Let's imagine a future where your memories are not just files sitting in a cloud account you forgot the password to. Imagine your memories as property, not property the way your phone wallpaper is property. Real property, tradable, inheritable, enforceable, a token, an NFT of memory. Your life story, your photos, your voice notes, your private messages, the recorded texture of who you were, all minted into something you can point to and say, "This is mine." But here's the question you need to ask first. If you can tokenize your consciousness, who owns your digital afterlife? You, your family, a platform, or the market? Because the second you turn memory into an asset, you invite a buyer, and once a buyer exists, you have to admit the darker truth. Ownership is not just protection. Ownership is also permission. So let's start with the promise, because the promise is seductive, the promise of a digital legacy. The pitch is simple. Your life becomes a vault that cannot be edited, cannot be erased, cannot be rewritten by someone else after you're gone. Your kids don't inherit a shoebox of fading photographs. They inherit a living archive, a timeline, a map of you. And it feels morally clean. It feels like dignity, because we all know the opposite is already happening. Right now, your legacy is scattered across corporate platforms that can disappear, ban you, throttle you, or bury you behind a password reset link no one can access once you're dead. So the blockchain fantasy whispers, take it back. Put your story somewhere no company can delete. Make your memory portable. Make it provably yours. I get the allure, I really do. But then the first cold thought arrives. Is this a dream, or is this a privacy nightmare with a receipt? Because permanence is not automatically noble. Permanence can be a trap. The mechanics of memory NFTs. So how would this actually work? Because here's where the word NFT does a lot of magic tricks. Most people imagine their memories living on the blockchain. That's not how it typically works. A blockchain is not a giant hard drive for your photos and journals. It's a ledger, a record, a pointer, a claim. So in most real designs, your actual data sits somewhere else, a storage layer, a vault, a distributed file system, some encrypted container, and the NFT is the key card. It's the proof that says this package belongs to this identity. It sounds solid until you realize what you just built. You built a digital mausoleum that is also a product, and if the data sits off-chain, you still depend on infrastructure. If it sits on some decentralized network, you depend on that network continuing to exist, being hosted, being paid for, being cared about. If it sits behind encryption, you depend on keys being preserved, not lost, not stolen, not coerced. So already, the first myth cracks. NFT doesn't automatically mean eternal. It means documented, and documentation is not the same as control. Now we hit the real paradox, the ownership paradox. What does it mean to own an NFT of your memories? You own the token. You own the pointer. But do you own the content the pointer leads to? Do you own the right to copy it, to remix it, to train an AI on it, to sell it, to give someone else access, to revoke access? That's the part people glide over because it sounds unromantic. But that's where the blood is, because ownership on a blockchain is a technical claim. Ownership in society is a legal claim, and those are not the same thing. Legal labyrinths and ethical echoes. Now we get into the hard room. Who owns your data when you die? In the physical world, inheritance law has thousands of years behind it. In the digital world, your identity is a bundle of contracts you clicked agree on. Some platforms treat your account as non-transferable. Some let you name a legacy contact, some don't. It's a patchwork. So an NFT of memory is partly an attempt to bypass that mess, to create a clean chain of custody. But here's the tension that refuses to go away, the right to be forgotten versus immutable records. Because a permanent record can protect you from revision, but it can also lock you into your worst moment forever. It can lock your family into it too. And now the ethical part that makes people look away. Consent. If your memories include other people, you are not minting a solo artifact. You are minting entanglement. Your photos include faces, your texts include other voices, your voice notes include names, your life contains other lives. So the moment you tokenize your memories, you are also tokenizing fragments of other people who never consented to be part of your digital afterlife. That is not a technical problem. That is a human problem. And it gets worse when you think about posthumous control. You can consent today, but can you consent to what your archive becomes 50 years from now, when the tools are different, when your grandchild can spin up an AI companion trained on you in 30 seconds, when your memory vault becomes an interactive personality, when your grief becomes a product? The societal impact. Now widen the lens. If this becomes normal, what happens? First, memory becomes a marketplace. People start buying proximity to famous dead people, private journals, unreleased voice notes, authentic digital relics. At first, it's framed as preservation. Then it becomes an asset class. And once something becomes an asset class, the incentives change. We're not just remembering anymore, we're speculating. Second, inequality. Who gets a digital afterlife? The rich, the famous, the people with the time and technical literacy to curate a clean archive. Everyone else gets the default outcome. Scattered accounts, lost passwords, a family that can't access the photos, a life that evaporates into broken links. So even death gets stratified. Some people become permanent, some people become noise. Third, the definition of legacy itself changes, because legacy used to be stories, imperfect, human, passed mouth to mouth, generation to generation. If your legacy becomes a token, it becomes an object. And objects don't forgive, and objects don't soften with time, and objects don't let your family revise their relationship with you. They just sit there, true, frozen, and sometimes cruel. The future of forever. So let's imagine two futures. Number one, utopian. Your family has a secure vault of your life, not a parody of you, not a deep fake, a curated archive you chose. It helps your kids know you, not just remember you. It protects your story from being rewritten by strangers. Number two, dystopian. Your memory becomes an API. A company offers Talk to Dad again for $19 a month. Your voice is used in ads. Your face shows up endorsing something you hated. Your archive gets hacked. Your private self becomes public property. And the market shrugs because the token says someone owns it. The most interesting part is that both futures can be true at the same time, because the technology doesn't decide the ethics, the incentives do. So here is the human question that matters more than the blockchain. Can a token ever capture the essence of a life lived, or is it just a high-resolution echo? A performance of you, a clean version, a version that becomes more persuasive than the real thing ever was. My closing thought is simple. If you turn memory into property, you will get the benefits of property, and you will inherit the violence of property. Fights, theft, control, manipulation, exploitation. So if this future arrives, the question is not, can you mint your memories? You can. The question is, what rules will govern the thing that wears your name after you're gone? Because the future is not just about preserving data. The future is about who gets to narrate you, and whether your descendants will be brave enough to doubt a fluent sentence spoken in your voice,